4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Otis, you crazy mother.
Okay everybody, today we are going to be using Kobu yarn, which is a mix of cotton and rayon from bamboo, and it's a weight 3. So you're going to need 3 different colors for this top. You're also going to need a pair of scissors, a 3.5mm crochet hook, and a tape measure. So the first thing that we are going to do today is create our bra cup. And what we're going to need to know first is the measurement from the bottom of your breast to the middle of your nipple. And for me, that is going to be about 2.5 inches right there. And I will insert a picture here on the side of the screen so that you can see what I mean by that. So measure that first. Mine was 2.5 inches. And that is going to be the measurement we need to create our foundation chain. So first off, we are going to make a slip knot. Okay, and insert your hook. And what I'm going to do right now is chain up enough so that I get 2.25 inches, not 2.5 inches, because we will be adding 1 stitch into the first row, which will make it just a bit longer. So make your foundation chain 0.25 inches shorter than your under breast measurement. So I am going to chain up 13 right now. And if I measured this out, this would be about 2.25 inches long. So now what we are going to do is create half double crochets all the way down. And to do that, I'm going to hold on to the last stitch right here, and then I am going to chain up 2. Okay, and then we are going to go into that 3rd chain right here that we're holding on to with a half double crochet. So we will yarn over, insert into that 3rd chain on just the top. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through. And then with 3 loops on your hook, you want to yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, so that's going to be our first stitch. And this chain 2 is not going to count as a stitch, so that's going to be our first one. Alright, then we will make our second. And I would recommend counting while doing your bra cups because they can easily come out uneven if you're not counting. So I am just going to keep doing these half double crochets all the way down this chain, and I will meet you back at the end. Okay, so we're at the very end, and this is the last chain right there. So I am making 1 last half double crochet in that very last stitch. Chain. Okay, and now what we are going to do is make 1 more half double crochet in that same chain right there. Okay, it's the exact same chain. Alright, and now we're going to chain up 1. And you can place a stitch marker here to keep your place, but I'm not going to right now. And then we're going to place 2 more half double crochets in that same chain space right there. Okay, so 1, oops. Jeez. Okay, and 2. Okay, so that's going to be the start of our peak. So now what we are going to do is go back on the other side of our foundation chain, and we're going to go into the very next stitch right here, again with another half double crochet. So we're just going to yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3, and we're just going to continue doing this all the way down. So I will come back once I've gotten to the end and show you how to start on our second row. Okay, so we are back at this end and I have 2 stitches left. So for my bra cup, I'm going to right now have 14 stitches on both sides, and that's just going to be one more than you originally chained up. So say you chained up 15, you would have 16 stitches on both sides. Okay, and then we're going to go into the very last stitch, which may be a little bit difficult to see. Okay, insert yarn over, pull through. And we're not going into the top of that chain 2 because that doesn't count as a stitch. So we are now onto row 2. And let's first chain up 2 and flip our work. And because this doesn't count as a stitch, we'll make our first half double crochet in that first stitch right there. So we're going to yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, and we're going to keep doing this all the way down, just a normal half double crochet in each stitch. And once I get up to the peak, I will come back and show you what we're going to do up there. Okay, so we are up at the peak right here, and I put a stitch marker in so you guys can see what we're doing. So this is going to be stitch 13 right here. And this will be stitch 14. Okay, so again, make sure that you are counting. So I'm going to remove this stitch marker, or a safety pin as I'm using. Alright, so it's a bit hard to see the chain 1 space right here, but I promise it's there. So I'm going to make 2 half double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 more half double crochets, just like we did in our previous row. So we'll yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through all 3. Once more. Okay, and then I'm going to chain up 1. And then you can place your stitch marker back there if you'd like. Alright, then 2 more half double crochets into that same chain 1 space. Okay, so now we're just going to do the same thing where we make 1 half double crochet all the way down in each stitch, and that's the pattern we'll repeat for our bra cup. So I'm just going to finish up this side going into that next stitch right there. Okay, and make sure to get into this last stitch right there again. Okay, let me grab the prototype right here and I'll show you what we are working with. So what we're making right now is going to be the middle right here. And what we have to worry about is how wide to make this white portion. And I'm going to show you just a few measurements that will help you out. So first of all, measure the width of your breast, which will be measurement A, and mine, for example, is going to be 6 inches across. Then what we want to do is subtract a total of 2.5 inches from measurement A to account for the tulip border, and that's because each side is about 1.25 inches. So what we're going to do is take your measurement A, and mine was 6 inches, and then you subtract it from 2.5 to get your measurement B. So for me, this is going to be 3.5 inches. And again, measurement B is going to be the width of the white portion of your bra cup. So whatever color this is, it's going to be the width of this portion. Okay, so I will show you right here. This is just about 3.5 inches, and I measure about an inch up for my width. Okay, and then the total is going to be just about 6 inches. So what you're going to do is just continue doing this portion of your bra cup again with the chain 2, half double crochet up to the top, 2 half double crochet, chain 1, 2 more half double crochet in that chain 1 space, and then half double crochet all the way down the other side. And you'll continue doing this until you reach your measurement B. So I will finish that up and come back once I am done. Okay, so I am almost back at the end, and I've already cut my yarn because my camera shut off while I was doing that, So we are just going to make one more half double crochet into that very last stitch, but don't finish it. Don't finish the stitch. So we're just going to insert, yarn over, and pull through. And now we have 3 loops on our hook, and we're just going to leave it like that because we're going to start making this green stem part. So grab whatever color you're using for your stems, and we are going to switch colors. Okay, so here we go with our green, and the way that I switch is usually this will be attached to the skein. So I'm going to take my green like this and pull it through the 3 loops to finish off the stitch. And I accidentally picked up some white, so I'm going to redo that really quick. Okay, and then pull through. So here we go. Now you can see that we have 2 tails. Usually this would be connected to the skein still, so you just have to cut that with your scissors. And what I'd like to do is take both strands of the tail and wrap it over top of my stitch and my working yarn, just to kind of weave it in as we're working. So we're going to chain up 3 right here because we are going to be working with double crochets. And now we're going to flip our work. Okay, and we're going to be using V stitches to create our stems. So this is going to count as our first stitch right here. So we'll start off our first V stitch in the second stitch right here. And to do a V stitch, it's a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet all in the same stitch. Okay, so what I do is put the tails on top, so we're working on top of them and weaving them in at the same time as well. Okay, so that's the second stitch right there. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into that stitch. Then to do a double crochet, we yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the second 2 loops. Okay, then we will chain 1 and make 1 more double crochet in the same space. So yarn over and go back into the same stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2. Alright, and that is our first V stitch right there. So what we're going to do now is skip 2 stitches. And we're going to go into that 3rd stitch right there. So we're going to yarn over, insert into that 3rd stitch while still holding on to the 2 tails. Then yarn over and pull through. Yarn over and pull through the first 2. And then yarn over, pull through these second 2 loops. Okay, we'll chain 1 and then make 1 more double crochet into that same stitch. Okay, so that is our second V stitch. We're going to keep doing this by skipping 2 and going into the 3rd stitch with a V stitch. So again, double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet again into the same stitch. And I'm going to keep doing this until I reach the peak, and then I will come back and show you what we're going to do at the top. Okay, so I'm just getting to the top right here, and I still have 3 stitches left before my chain 1. So I'm going to skip 2 and go into the 3rd like I've been doing. And if you have more or less stitches left, just check out my blog link below where I go more in depth. So what I'm going to do now is, after I'm done with this V stitch, I'm going to skip that chain 1 right there. And then I'm just going to go and make my next V stitch into the following stitch right after it. So that chain 1 will kind of count as our 2 skip stitches. And again, this is not going to be absolutely perfect, but it'll be pretty close. Alright, we will skip 2 and go into the 3rd stitch like we've been doing. Okay, skip 2, go into the 3rd. Alright, and now I'm just going to continue and I will meet you back at the end. Okay, so we are back at the end again, and looks like I forgot to finish that V-stitch, so I'll finish that now. Oh my god, I love the feel of this yarn, but it can be really annoying to work with sometimes because it likes to split. Okay, and as you can see, I have 3 stitches left, but I am going to be doing 1 normal double crochet in the very last stitch. So instead of skipping 2 like I have been, I am going to skip only 1. And it's not going to matter that much, so don't worry. I'm going to place my next V-stitch into the second stitch. And that will be our last little V-stitch right there. So now we're going to start a double crochet in the last stitch like we did before with the white. So I'll yarn over, insert, and then I'll yarn over and pull through 2. And we're gonna leave it with 2 loops on our hook. Okay guys, real quick, I just wanted to show you that the second cup I'm doing, I made it so that I had 8 V-stitches on both sides of my peak. But in the first one that I'm showing you how to do right now, I did not do that. So as you can see, one side has 9 and one side has 8 because they're not in multiples of 3, so it's not even. So what I'm saying is if you do want it completely even, I really would just kind of play around with skipping maybe 1 or 2 stitches in between, 1 or 3 stitches in between to get an even number of V-stitches on both sides. In the very last one here, I had 5 stitches left on one, so I skipped 2, placed 1 into the 3rd stitch, but then I skipped 1 before I placed that last double crochet in the very last stitch. So again, it's not really going to look that much different, but if you want them even, then I would do this. Your stems will not be completely even in terms of spacing, but if you do want them the exact same amount on both sides, just play around a little bit with the spacing at the end right here like I did. Otherwise, it's not going to make that much difference. It doesn't look uneven at all, at least to me. But if you guys want to be a little more perfect than I am, I would recommend doing it this way. Okay, back to where we were. Okay, so I'm going to grab my pink yarn because we are now starting the flowers. So that means we will be changing color right here. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the green. All right, we'll pull through the last 2 like that. Grab our scissors and then cut the green end. And then what we're going to do is put those tails on top of the stitches like we did before. And then I am going to chain up 3 because we're still doing double crochets. Alright, so now we are going to flip our work, and this will count as our first stitch right here. So now we're going to be doing a cluster stitch in these chain 1s in the middle of the V stitches. And to do that, we are going to yarn over, insert our hook into that chain 1 space, yarn over, pull through, and pull up. And then we're just going to be pulling through the first 2 loops on our hook. Okay, and then we are going to yarn over, insert into that chain 1 space again, yarn over, pull through and up, then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops only, and then we have 3 loops on our hook now, so we will do that one more time. Yarn over, insert into the chain 1 space, yarn over, pull through and up, and then yarn over, pull only the first 2 loops. Okay, and once you have 4 loops on your hook, you want to yarn over and pull through all 4. So now what we're going to do is chain up 2, and then we're going to repeat the same thing in the next chain 1 V-stitch right there. So again, yarn over and go into the next chain 1 space, yarn over, pull through and up, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, insert again, pull through and up, first 2, then you have 3 loops left on your hook, then we'll do that once more. Alright, and you have 4 loops on your hook right now, which means you'll yarn over, pull through all 4, then chain 2. And you're just going to repeat this all the way around. So I'm just going to finish up with these, and there's going to be nothing special at the top, so I'm just going to come back once I'm done with the end of this row. Alright, so I'm just about done with the very last row right here. We have one more cluster stitch to do. Alright, and this is what it's going to start looking like. And now what we are going to do is just start a double crochet on top of the last chain 3 stitch right here. Yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through the first 2. And with 2 loops left on our hook, we're going to switch our color again. So I'm going to put this down and actually cut this first, just because it's a little bit easier. Alright, so now we will grab our white yarn again. And then we are going to pull through the last 2 loops. Alright, let's pull those tail ends tight and put them over top of our stitches. Okay, so we are now going to chain up 1 and flip our work. Okay, and we're going to start doing a row of single crochets, and the chain 1 is not going to count as a stitch. So I'm going to put my first single crochet in that very first stitch right here. Okay, and then we will make 1 more single crochet on the very top of that cluster stitch. So we insert, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through the 2 loops on our hook. Okay, and then we are going to place 2 single crochets into the chain 2 spaces. So that will be 1 and 2. We're going to continue doing this until we reach the peak, where we are making 1 single crochet into the top of the cluster and then 2 single crochets into the chain 2 space. So once I reach the peak, I will come back because we are going to be doing something a little bit different up there. Okay, so now we are back at the peak, and as you can see, this is the peak right here. So in this next space is where we are going to continue the peak, and if you would like, you can put a stitch marker in this space right here on your next cup, just so you know. Okay, so let's go on the top of that cluster stitch with our single crochet, and now we're going to continue the peak right here in this chain 2 space. So what we're going to do is 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then we're going to chain up 1 and place a stitch marker there if you like, because it will be a little bit difficult to see. And then we're going to place 2 more single crochets in that same chain 2 space. Okay, so there's our little peak, and then we'll continue with 1 on top of the cluster and 2 single crochets in each chain 2 space. So I'm just going to continue doing this until I reach the end of this row, and then I will show you how we're going to finish up with the last row. Okay, so I'm just about at the end with this last little cluster right here. And then you want to make your last single crochet in the top of that chain 3. Maybe. It's harder to do on camera than you might think. Alright, finally, there we go. Okay, and now our last row is going to be half double crochets with the same thing up the peak. So I'm going to chain up 2 and flip my work. And again, our chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch, so we're going to go right into that very first stitch with our first half double crochet. And we'll just do half double crochets until we reach the peak in each of these single crochet stitches. So I'm going to continue doing this until I reach the peak, and I will meet you back there. So we are about to reach the peak right here, and I put a little stitch marker in the chain 1 space so you guys can see. So I'm going to make another half double crochet here and here. And then this is where our chain 1 is, and I really need to get some real stitch markers. Okay, sorry for the jump cut, it took forever to get that out. So this is the chain 1 space, which is super hard to see. So we're going to make 2 half double crochets in that chain 1 space, and then chain 1, and then another 2 half double crochets in that same space. This is the same thing that we were doing for the first portion of this bra cup. Okay, our last half double crochet right there. Also, I'm sorry if the white is being a little bit washed out on the background. So once we finish that, we're going to just be doing normal half double crochets all the way down the opposite side until we get back to the very end. So I will finish and I'll meet you down there. Okay, so I've just got done with this last row. So now we are going to finish this cup off with a bottom border. And to do that, we're going to be doing a row of half double crochets. So we will chain up 2, and we're going to make our first half double crochet in that first half double crochet space right there. All right, and then we're going to be making 2 half double crochets in each of these half double crochet and double crochet spaces. Okay, for our single crochet, we are just going to make 1 half double crochet in that space though. Okay, and then 2 half double crochets in this double crochet space. 1 and 2. Okay, and next one, we'll do 2 half double crochets in the double crochet space again. All right, and we're finally getting to our half double crochet rows right here. Again, it's the same thing, just 2 half double crochets in each space. And we'll just continue doing this all the way down until we reach the other side. So I will meet you at the very end. Okay, so we're all the way back at the end right here, and I have just one more stitch to go. So I'm going to make it in the top of this chain 2 right here. Okay, and that's going to complete our first bra cup. So just to finish it up, we're going to chain up 1, get your scissors, and cut. Then pull through and pull tight. So this is what it's going to start looking like. We'll repeat all these steps for the other bra cup, and once you are done with that, I will meet you back here. So we've just finished both cups right here, and now what we want to do is connect them at the corners. So you want to make sure they're both facing the same side. These are both facing the outside, and you can tell with the first single crochet row right here. And if you flip it over, this is what the single crochet row on the inside looks like. So what I'm going to do now is take the left cup right here. I'm just not using the other one because it already has the little tail hanging off at the corner. So I'm just going to go into the very corner right here, and I will insert my hook right there. All right, and once I do that, I'm going to grab my yarn and just pull it through so I can make a knot. Okay, then just make a little knot like we always do. Okay, and then we're going to just insert our hook back into that same stitch where the knot is. And what I like to do is we will take the other side of our cup right here, we'll go into that corner stitch, okay, right there, and then where is our working yarn? Alright, we're just going to yarn over and pull through both of them like a slip knot, and then chain 1, and then I'm just going to cut with my scissors. Maybe. God, these are terrible scissors. And then we just pull right through and pull tight. And you can make another knot if you like for extra security. But that is going to be it for part 1. So in the next part of our video, part 2, we are going to start creating the bottom piece, which I'll show you a little preview of that right now. And I will have the link up in the corner so you can click on that and get right into the next part of this top. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more free crochet content. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this month, so if you want to help a girl out, just click on that little subscribe button in the corner. But that's going to be all for this video, so I will see you guys in part 2.